Love, Wedding, Repeat, Netflix 2020 1 hour and 40-minute long original British comedy starring Sam Claflin, Olivia Munn, and Frida Pinto. It's based on the film Plan de Table by Crystal Raynell. I'm going to break down what you need to know about Dean Craig's directing, starting now. Something real inspirational about chance and love is narrated by Penny Ryder, the mysterious oracle. The movie then opens with the backstory of a nervous Jack and a confident American friend Dina in the streets of Rome. We find out that Dina and Haley, Jack's sister, are apparently both journalists getting two totally different assignments. Anyways, as Jack and Dina were just about to mark their moment of love, this is what happens. An old friend of Jack totally ruins the moment. Jack and Dina are just about to leave without the hopes of ever crossing paths again. Although the two lovers met in a short amount of time, their connection is obvious. Then Jack leaves for London. Moving forward 3 years later, set in Italy, we're brought to the sister Haley's wedding day, played by Eleanor Tomlinson, but we'll soon find out that this pristine bride has some dirty secrets to come. We're informed that she's been relying heavily on these sleep drops to help with her anxiety. There are vibes of excitement and nervousness as we establish the relationship that brother and good friend Brian, played by Joel Fry, share. Haley and her future husband met by chance, which is a major theme throughout the movie. Side note, Federico Vitelli in this movie is the renowned film director played by Paolo Mazzarelli. We're also introduced verbally to two new characters, Rebecca, who Brian can't stand, and Amanda, Jack's ex, who he can't stand, played by Frida Pinto, which segues into the next scene, where Amanda and her current boyfriend Chaz, aka Alan Mustafa, are bickering in the car just seconds prior to arrival. No sooner than they arrive, we're introduced to Rebecca, played by Aisling B, a woman who puts her foot straight into her mouth with everyone she meets. Next, Sydney, the awkward comic relief played by Tim Key, steps in. He wears a kilt that bothers his nether regions the entire wedding. We don't know too much about the groom, Roberto, played by Stefano Petti. The next scene. The bride's coach arrives and Haley shares her last sentiments with brother Jack, sealing their everlasting bond, something that even chance can't interfere with. We're reminded about the pills she possesses. Cut to the wedding. It's a beautiful day in Italy. All is well with the wedding guests and kids are frolicking. Except for the fact Brian, who never came back from the barbers. I don't know why they added this bit in the movie, but if you watched it and have any idea why, let me know in the comments below. Moving right along. We're reminded about Dina. Chance has it she actually could make it to the wedding as she is now single. Nervously walking down the aisle, Jack gives Haley off to be wed when Brian shows up. Guests are mingling afterwards. Sydney tries to make small talk with Dina. Elsewhere, Brian doesn't have his maid of honor speech prepared, something left to chance from the very beginning. Rebecca jumps in. Jack spots Dina. Chaz and Amanda argue some more. Everything is bliss until arrives unwanted guest, Mark Fisher, played by Jack Farthing. He's clearly under the influence of God knows what, but his main mission is to ruin the wedding. Haley and Mark exchange words. Chance has it someone else couldn't make it to the wedding, so Mark gets welcomed to the English table with Jack, Dina, Amanda, Chaz, Rebecca, Brian, and Sydney. At this point, Haley is frantic to find her brother Jack. Vitelli eyes Dina from afar. Haley brings to Jack's attention that Mark is here to ruin the wedding. She acquires the sleep drops she has and suggests that Jack roofie Mark's drink. Reluctantly, he does so. Little does he know, chance would decide who is going to drink the elixir. Children come over when adults are awake to scramble the place cards. We won't know whose drink will have the sleep drops in the bottom. It's now time to see if true love is meant to succeed or fail. The dinner guests are finding their seats at tables when Brian works up the courage to talk to his idol Vitelli. Oh, but not yet. First order of chance, Rebecca and Brian are sat next to each other. Remember that Brian can't stand her. Brian takes a big swig of his drink first, unknowing it was possibly laced. Next order of chance, Jack and Dina are sat at complete opposite sides of the table. Amanda and Chaz continue with their antics. Third order of chance, Amanda, Jack's ex, sits across the table from Chaz and sits right beside Jack instead. Next, Sydney finds his way to the table right beside Dina. Lastly, red-eyed Mark comes between Sydney and Amanda. The bride and groom are announced. Everyone is about to take a sip of their drinks. Game of Russian roulette. Rebecca continues to blab about things she doesn't know about when it comes to Jack and Amanda's past relationship to Chaz, which inevitably causes Chaz to get jealous. It's obvious, though, there's strife between Jack and Amanda. Sydney makes painfully awkward conversation with Dina, who is slowly drinking until she feels out of sorts. We don't know if it's because of the sleep drops, though. Jack tries to seize his chance with Dina. Sydney interferes yet again. Brian appears drowsy. Mark is ready to start a ruckus. Brian leaves the table to make an impression on the movie director Vitelli. He totally louses it up. Rebecca thinks he's just buzzed. In the meantime, Mark takes another hit in the bathroom while guests are unsuspecting of what he'll have to say. Jack manages to shake off Sydney so he can connect connect with Dina once again. Haley tries to convince Mark that she's in fact in love with Roberto. She's called to the dance floor and Dina is opening up to Jack, who is on cloud 9. Haley confronts Jack regarding the whereabouts of her sleep drops. It's obvious that Mark isn't sleeping and her plan isn't working. Little did Jack know, Haley and Mark actually hooked up just a few weeks before this eventful day. Festivities continue. Chaz confronts Jack about his ex Amanda. Jack reassures Chaz he doesn't care for her anymore. Mark tries to interfere with Roberto. Jack has to intervene by locking him up in a closet. Viatelli takes his chance to meet Dina. Chaz gets Amanda mad towards Jack. Brian can't keep his eyes open. He obviously took the sleep drops with his drink. His maid of honor speech totally tanks. He ruins the cake and his chance of impressing Viatelli. Haley confirms that what Mark said is true about their shagging. Her biggest fear, the chance Roberto finds out. Chance would have it that a wedding guest finds Mark in the closet screaming for help. Chance would also have it that Dina gets an important alert on her phone requiring her to leave. Viatelli offers Dina a ride. Brian's passed out. Amanda headbutts Jack. Mark reveals to all the wedding guests about his and Haley's affair. Haley attacks him right then and there. Roberto is in utter shock. He falls off a ledge by accident. Everyone is feeling off. But what if chance and luck had made these 8 people sit differently? The story would completely change. This is where it gets a little tricky. We rewind the clock. Reverse time to where the place cards were not moved around the way they were, and everyone sits in a different arrangement. What if Jack and Dina do end up sitting together? Jack is the one who accidentally drinks the sleep drops now. He tries to get his best friend Brian to help him vomit it up before it sedates him. Dina walks on them being, just weird. Jack sits back at the table and tries to rekindle what's left of Dina's respect for him. He unfortunately starts falling asleep, causing her to leave in anger. Viatelli gets the girl. Psych! Sydney comes in once again. Brian never works up the courage to talk to Viatelli. Chaz asks Amanda to marry him. Amanda slaps Jack. Jack tries to stop Mark but falls hopelessly asleep. Dina is driven to drink. Jack says I love you to Brian. Haley pulls Jack aside, tells him the truth about her and Mark. Chance can't get in the way of their brother-sister bond. They have the same problem. They are both just afraid to let a real relationship happen because they know how easy it is to lose the ones they love. In this case, their parents. What a moment! They get some coffee for Jack. Dina drunkenly tells Sydney what's what. Mark does take a second hit in the bathroom. Rebecca and Brian fall in love. Jack persuades Mark not to ruin the wedding. Sydney asks Jack life advice. Brian's speech goes great. Mark doesn't screw up the wedding. Chaz and Amanda break up. Dina is still drunk but gets that text to leave. Sydney finds a woman. Haley has a great wedding. Dina's right about to leave. Jack stops her. Turns out Dina felt the same way towards Jack back in Rome 3 years earlier. But c'est la vie. Viatelli loves Brian after all. A wonderful speech about chance, life, and love was given by Brian to Jack. Jack gives Dina a kiss despite anyone else's trying to ruin it, and love conquers all. Thanks for letting me unpack Netflix's new flick. Leave a comment down below of what you think, and as always, like and subscribe.